Noctis Noctis. Subscribe to Vincent Valentine EX Turk channel.
Last theory video of the day, my Archfiends of Chaos. And this will go in, since I've been playing episode Gladiolus, this is going to be very relevant to episode Gladiolus. Since I've finished episode Gladiolus, now I can actually feel the need, to talk about it. Core mentioned something to Gladiolus of how come his father never took the trial of Gilgamesh. And this is not only a theory about why he hasn't took the trials of Gilgamesh, but this will also go into could older version of Clarus, Amictia, it's an Italian name, Amictia, Antimisia, Gladiolus and Eris's father, older version, defeat GeneralGluaca and King Slave if he would have took the Gilgamesh trial. So we're gonna go walk by step. First of all, he never took the trial in the original game because Core told him that he didn't think he was strong enough. The difference between Gladiolus and Clarus. Clarus is strong, yes, and Clarus trains, but Gladiolus has a natural talent for fighting. Gladiolus is a fighter. That's why you could see that's why he has big muscles and he's tall and athletic, because he has a huge talent for fighting. As if you see the younger version of Clarus and A King's Tale, Clarus is a lot smaller than Gladiolus. Not saying that he's a bad fighter. Because Clarus did teach everything to Gladiolus, but he didn't have as much talent in fighting as Gladiolus did. That's why he was afraid he'd fail his king, King Regis, if he would have and died right at the point if he would have took the trial of Gilgamesh. Unlike his son later on, which actually Gladiolus does have the fighting talent. But not only that, but Clarus thinks he would lose. He believes he would lose against Gilgamesh because of how powerful Gilgamesh is, and he's heard stories. Gladiolus has heard the same stories, but Gladiolus wanted to take the trial to get stronger than Ravis. But there's no threats like Ravis or even Idolus at the time. No, not to say Idolus didn't exist at the time. I'm just saying at the time of younger Clarus, Idolus didn't attack Insomnia. In fact, they tried to sign one peace treaty, and then there was a bunch of wars between the Niflheim and Insomnia, and then, Morius Lucius Kylum used the barrier to make, the whole barrier to make Insomnia protected. As long as you didn't leave Insomnia, you were protected from the Niflheim Empire, so, until up to King's Glaive, which is far down the line. But let's just say that Core was wrong and Clarus took the trial, and Clarus did pass the test and beat Gilgamesh in battle, and passed the test that his son Gladiolus took. Now we could concur and agree that he would be a little bit stronger, even though Clarus is now an old man. He's as old as Regis. He's around, let's see, 60 to 50, either 50 to 60 years old now. Clarus would still have Final Fantasy characters do keep their fighting experience. Remember I said, so just because someone's old does not mean they're weak in a Final Fantasy game. Look at Idolus. Look what Idolus did to Ravis. And Ravis was clearly stronger than Idolus. But look how Idolus in human form, not even transformed to Pharao, did to Ravis. So, old men are powerful in Final Fantasy games. They do keep their power gauges. Now, I believe that Clarus would get a Zenkai boost after beating Gilgamesh, because after he beats Gilgamesh, he'd probably get Gilgamesh's glaive, and that's the sword. And if you know Final Fantasy 15 lore, not like the other Final Fantasy games, the more powerful sword you get in Final Fantasy 15, the stronger you get. Now, once Clarus defeats once Clarus defeats Gilgamesh, he would have the glaive. He would soon pass on to his son, but at this point, Clarus would still be alive, because if he would have beat Gilgamesh and got his glaive, he would have been strong enough to he would have been strong enough to kill GeneralGluaca 10 times over. I believe let me repeat this again. Clarus and Amictia could beat GeneralGluaca if he would have took the trial of Gilgamesh. Remember, Kor said to Gladiolus he didn't take the trial because he thought he would fail the king. He thought he was not strong enough, and that's because, unlike his son Gladiolus has the talent for fighting that's unremarkable. He took Ravus's frontal assault, and even though he got flew back, he didn't have any more damage besides being flown back. As for anyone who took Ravus's sword with his Magitech arm, would have a scar, a bruise, or a cut from a sword, or something like that. Gladiolus was able to block that, and this was him before he met Gilgamesh, because he only met Gilgamesh and took the Gilgamesh training to get stronger than Ravus, so he could protect Ravus from Noctis. Because remember, this is when Ravus is still evil and still part of the Empire that this episode happened. So yeah, this is from an earlier chapter. But I'm just saying that let's go back years before when Clarus was younger. If Clarus would have took the same trial, he would have been stronger. And then you know what that means? A king's slave, he'd be well prepared, even bring out Gilgamesh's glaive that he won from Gilgamesh through the trial of Gilgamesh. He would pull that blade out, slice and dice off of GeneralGluaca's armor, and then put a final stab in GeneralGluaca's armor. Of course, how this would play out is King Regis would see the unmasked GeneralGluaca and be in shock and dismay that GeneralGluaca was Titus Drontus all this time. But Titus Drontus or GeneralGluaca, because I separate those two characters because they're two different characters. They just share one body. Titus Drontus is a host for Glauca. As for Glauca is the demon soldier that kills mercilessly. Now, even though his master would be moved and Regis would be in shock and horror, I still would think that he would still defeat Titus Drontus, because even though King Regis would agree with Clarus's decision to eliminate him, even though even though his body was Titus Drontus, King Regis would give the order. There would be a stab to GeneralGluaca, and all the events of King's Slave wouldn't happen. Nyx Ulrich would still be alive, and Salmia would not be destroyed, and Luna Freya and Noctis's wedding would be pretty much untampered with. Because the only reason why it got tampered with, the only reason why the wedding got tampered with is because Noctis found out what happened to Insomnia. Now, without Diamond Weapon being summoned, because GeneralGluaca would be beat earlier in the game, by Clarus with the train of Gilgamesh. Clarus is Gladiolus' father, older Clarus. So we're going into the future. Older Clarus would have won that battle. Nyx Ulrich would not die. The Niflheim wouldn't have summoned the Diamond Weapon, and Noctis and Luna Freya would complete their wedding. Will complete their wedding, while also Noctis will have every single astral under his command, as well as the royal arms, just in case. And then marry Luna Freya with Noctis. Tenebrae Kingdom and the Kingdom Insomnia would team up and fight the war against the Niflheim Empire, and defeat the Niflheim Empire. Of course, leaving Noctis left because that. But this time, King Regis would live a lot longer, since Glauca did not kill King Regis. So King Regis would be the sacrifice to defeat Arden once and for all. And then he'd be happily ever after, without Noctis losing his body to complete that. Without losing his life to complete that. King Regis would be the one who would have to sacrifice himself. it would be kind of a funeral and be sad nonetheless, but, nonetheless, the world would be peaceful, no Star Scourge, no Nephilim Empire, and a lot faster. So maybe Clarus should have took the Gilgamesh trial after all and made the crystal be